welcome to Before I Go, the podcast where I take a personality test. That's what we're going to be doing today. I'm going to keep it light and fun today. 1 second here. Let me just point out, I can't see the cat so much. I hate to move the camera, but. So here's the thing. Lola does like to be around me a lot. Her name's Lola, if I haven't brought that up yet. Um, Hopefully I'm mostly centered up, I think. I don't know. Um, it's interesting. She spends a lot of time around me, but there's also a good amount of time where she spends on her own. I've been in this room for a few hours now, doing stuff mainly for the podcast. Actually, redesigning the thumbnails, kind of creating more of a logo, not just text. She's trying to leave now, frankly, as I say this, but you know, here we go. I have to step away. Do I keep it rolling? I think I keep it rolling. Just say hello. No work. So yeah, of course I ended up having to cut there. That's just the nature of it. And she's gonna want back in. I'm not gonna cut for that. I'm just not. I hate. The beauty of this podcast is I don't have to rigorously edit it. I color grade, and I make my occasional cuts, which are easy to do. But I don't like having to search for them in the timeline. You don't need to know. Anyways, what I was saying is it's pretty interesting that she's always here for the podcast. She always shows up. And of course, the second I say that, she leaves, which, yeah, that makes complete sense, doesn't it? But yeah, we're going to be doing a personality test today. At some point, we'll do a few little things before that, talk about a few little things before that. But, um, it's interesting. I haven't done one really since my freshman year of high school. And sometime in between then and now, I remember doing it again, just maybe on my own. And I got a different personality that time around, which makes sense. From that time to, from my freshman year to whenever I took it the second time, I'm sure my personality had significantly changed. And then, from now, and I don't remember what it was, because what I did basically was I got a different answer the second time around, and I just refuted it because um, it was a less rare personality type. Um, it, that seems a little bit like an ego thing, if I had to say so myself. Originally, um, I got an INFP. Don't remember what the letters mean anymore. We'll figure that out today together. But a mediator, and it's definitely, just frankly speaking, it's a more rare personality type. Second time around, I got a less rare personality type that I did personally at the time, and could have been an ego thing. But even thinking back now, I feel like I kind of disagreed with. I just didn't really align. But gonna answer the questions as honestly as I can, and yeah, it should be fun. But yeah, going back to my fragile ego back then. Wasn't as rare as I hoped I was. So, yeah. But before that, wanted to talk about a few things. Firstly, I recently watched my Sonny Lubick documentary, which is called "Oh No, More Than Football." Sonny Lubick, More Than Football. Yikes. Um, and here we go. Lola wants back in. Not gonna cut. These are the things we're doing. These are the things we're doing. Well, look at it. So you asked, why did she leave? She was hungry. You see her. She's fat. It is a breed that's bigger, but she's fat. Um, yeah, yep. She's she's in relatively good health. You can see her barely in the corner there. That'll probably be how it is most times. Man, I like forgetting to mute again. Mute my phone. It's what I do apparently. So whatever. And I have a feeling my mom just asked me if I was home. She's been gone in Arizona. Haven't seen her in a while. She's at work was off to work before I had woken up, so I haven't seen her yet. Asked if I was home, so that probably means she's going to ask me to do something, and I'll make a cut again. But um, yeah, I watched the podcast again, and you know, just watching it again, it's something I'll forever be proud of. I think it was the first, and still is really, my first kind of big production I've ever made before. Months and months of planning. My planning for it started in August of that year. I didn't end up releasing it until November. It's almost been a year now since I released it, but just a lot of little things, managing things falling apart, building them back up, putting it back together, communicating with a bunch of different parties. It was, um, the first time um, I ever really got to manage something and do something that I was the head of, and I'm very proud of it, but I'm also very grateful for everyone who helped me put it together, because it was a lot of people. I put a lot of people in my um, credits for the video, I guess. They're very unconventional credits, and that's how I like it, because you might not have necessarily helped with it, the thing itself, but there's people in my life who mattered a lot to me that I felt like deserved to be in the credits. I asked a few people if they wanted to be in the credits or not, and they didn't, but they're people I would have liked to include as well. Um, so it was a cool thing. I mean, Abdulaziz is a guy who I have a lot of respect for, um, as a filmmaker, and a guy who, he's very established, I guess I would say, in our community, in our city. He um, basically runs his own business as a video guy, and he let me. He came and helped me. I basically pitched to him like, dude, I can't pay you, but I think this will help you get more business. This guy's huge in our community, and I'd really like you to help me put this together. And so I, asked him to film with me, and that, he was my producer, but mainly, filming, and then, setup and whatnot of the set and everything. You know, he was kind of my right hand guy the whole time, and wouldn't have been possible without Abdulaziz. So I just, you know, want to reiterate again how thankful I am for Abdulaziz specifically, because would never have happened without Abdulaziz. Not to the vision that I wanted, and he helped execute my vision. Made some great suggestions, while we were filming, that made it so much better. And so, yeah, can't thank him enough. Was the recording for video, recording for the audio, everything. Yeah, a huge part of the success um, of it in my mind. Obviously, like analytically, I still see it as a success, but um, I think I forecasted that it would get more views than it did, if I can be honest. But you know, it's like one of the only videos where I'm like, oh, I hope this gets a lot of views, and it didn't get as many views as I wanted, and I could really care less, because the people I wanted to see it saw it. Um, it did get tossed around the community thanks to one of my friend's dads, actually, to some degree, sharing it on the Nextdoor app. Don't know if you've ever heard about it, but it's basically a bunch of neighbors yelling at each other, because it's just like, so social media confined to like your city or your like little community. It's very interesting. Give me a second here. Gotta respond to mother. Be right back. String cheese. And we're back. There we go. A second cut today already, so that's just great. But to get back into it just a little bit more, a lot of people made that film happen, and I can't wait to make something else like it someday. And I would like to grow more independent. I think as far as working goes, I do, I talked last episode at the end about all the different things I'd like to buy or get for people and whatnot, but largely saving. But as far as big purchases go, I'm ready to upgrade from this camera. You can see there's a lot of noise in the background. I'm kind of trying a different lighting style, by the way, but this camera is awful in low light, and it's just not, it doesn't hold up anymore. I got it a long time ago. This camera does not at all hold up anymore. So I'm I'm ready to move on from it. I really am. I think I like to keep it because it is my first camera, and that's fun. But I'm I'm ready for a new camera. I'm disassociating a little bit right now. Actually, I just started to disassociate. I just kind of I wanted to bring some light to that because I started looking at the camera and I'm like, wow, I'm just looking at a camera. There's no one in there. There's probably no one else on the other side of the screen. I'm just like thinking about the fact that I'm talking right now and that I'm in the moment. But was I in the moment? That's a weird question to think about. Oh, there goes the phone. That's all over. It's all over, man. Um, so yeah, it was a cool thing. Kind of on the same note of the documentary and everything about it. Sonny Lubick. I talked about in that film how his one son, he has two sons and a daughter. The one son got cancer and luckily recovered. And, I believe the way that works for everything is it doesn't ever really go for the most part. And I guess maybe unless it's like a tumor, I don't know. Maybe I don't fully, I'm going to stop talking because I clearly don't know what I'm talking about. Um, but I think he's in remission. And, my uncle, had leukemia, is in remission as well. He's cancer free, you know what I mean? But it's, you're in remission. Um, Unfortunately, news came out the other day. I was actually on, I guess, the state's like newspaper. I could say where I live. It's the Coloradoan, and yeah, I was reading it, and it came up that Sonny Lubick's other son got cancer, and so I haven't reached out to Sonny, and I don't know. I think there's plenty going on. I don't know that I should or need to about that. But as someone who's in my thoughts and prayers, and I, hope is in your thoughts or prayers as well. Um, you know, I think, and I say thoughts or prayers, that just kind of popped into my brain there. Not trying to push religion on anyone right now. But I am a faithful uh, Christian man. Um, and not afraid of that. Not afraid to say it. Anyways, you know, someone who's in my thoughts and prayers for sure. And just the whole family. It's just, you think about it, and that's a scary thing to go through once and then to think you're over it and then having to go through it again. And, you know, Sonny Lubick and his wife are that everyone's that much older now. And it's just kind of a tough thing. I feel bad for the family and, just hope that, recovery and, healing and all of that. But, yeah, we'll just kind of, uh, gonna keep myself informed on all of that and what they're releasing to the public, obviously. But that's public information, so I wanted to say I'm not sharing information that's brand new, just kind of spreading it to my audience, I guess, because I would figure my audience doesn't know so much about that. But yeah, wishing the best for them and that family. It's just yeah, hard thing to see. Like I said, I am pondering reaching out, but what I'll likely do is this. It's on like let's just take a look real quick. What day of November? It's like the 18th of November, I want to say. Um, that was the video there if you heard any little bit of audio come through. 18th of November. So I'm recording this on the 8th of November. Probably, this episode coming out in, geez, I don't know, a few days, which is kind of weird considering that the day I'm recording this is the day that episode 2 comes out. So the release schedule of the podcast is a little funky, and I'll get it more on a rhythm eventually, but I'm just kind of recording as I go right now, and I wanted to record today. I felt like recording it. It sounded like a fun thing to do. But yeah, I'll probably, just reach out to Sonny, thanking him for the experience again on that day. And let me just say, it's a cool thing to have. I'm a fan at the end of the day. The CSC Rams are my hometown college team. I live in a college town. Most people know about the Rams now because they play Deion Sanders and the Buffaloes, but it's been a team that I've been surrounded by my entire life. And I never really think of myself as a team guy, but they are about the one team really that I'm pretty much constantly cheering for no matter what, even if it's against a team who I'll claim to be my favorite team, the Air Force Falcons, and I still find myself cheering for the CSU Rams. So goes to show you there. I'm I'm a big Rams guy, and Sonny Lubick, I always think of him as the guy the field's named after. I got his number. His number's on my phone, and I interviewed him. um, Not in a braggy way, but I mean, hey, come on, it doesn't hurt. But just I say it in the sense of like it's something that I'm a fan. I'm fanning of. I'm a fanboy. Um, but yeah, I'll probably reach out to him and just give my thanks for everything, and then on the end of that, kind of let him know I'm thinking about him and praying for him and his family. But yeah. Lastly, about the Sonny Lubick documentary, a little inside scoop here. On that 1 year anniversary, I'm planning on releasing the full uncut interview. Try and rework some of the audio as well, because Adobe Premiere Pro got some better audio features. I actually used it on episode 2 a little bit. You can kind of control how much of it you want, and kind of preference, really. Like, you could easily function with this audio. This audio is a bit like, it's crisp, but it's there's still a little bit of like reverb-ish, a little bit. So I just added a little bit of nice effect on there. I don't have to do it the way I used to do it. Either way, it's much better than episode 1's audio, I'm sure of that. But yeah, I'm going to release that soon. We're looking at about 10 days from now that I release that video. And I encourage you to listen to it. Some of the stuff, it's just an interview, all it is. It's basically like a podcast. I'm not going to call it a Before I Go podcast. It doesn't really fit in. That's before that. But I encourage you to listen to it. There's definitely a lot of, questions and pieces that I cut out of the main film that I think you should take a listen to. I mean, I think overall it's like a 50-ish minute runtime, maybe closer to an hour. And yeah, it's worth a watch for sure. I'm definitely going to watch it again just because I kind of forgot about a lot of what I said. So should be interesting to listen to. And yeah, I think that'll be a fun one to release. Probably won't do nearly as well in the algorithm, if very well at all. But yeah. One other thing I want to say, this guy's a huge factor in our community. I'm just going to keep it honest with you. I definitely have, I think, one of the best videos on him. The other one is not as easily accessible or findable. It's on Vimeo, and it's by a major, not major, but they're called Altitude Sports. It's Colorado-based sports content. So, they definitely have the funds and ability to create a great video on him, in which they did, and I watched it and I liked it. More so on the story of Sonny Lubick and his like sports story, I guess, and where I was trying to tell the personal side of his story and mix in the sports as well, because that's what people know him for. But I gotta say, I got one of the most accessible and best videos out there, and we were just, as far as production goes, we were just 2 people who made that. And so let me just say, we did pretty good. We did pretty good, and I think it should get some more recognition, and more people in the community should watch it. I'd like it. Hey, I'd like it if the university used it. I'd say, hey, yeah, dude, use it. Just like throw out my name out there. Give me some credit, If we're talking to someone, video people, throw my name in the basket, I'm not trying to sell the video. I never said I would. That's what Sonny Lubick didn't want. So they should reach out. It's something that they should have for people, because he's a big part of the university. That's just me. I don't know. Anyways, last thing before we move on to the personality test, which I'm very much so looking forward to, I have to say. Kind of rolling off of Sonny Lubick, coaching for me. If you don't know, I'm a flag football coach. I coach every year, sometimes twice a year. There's a fall season and a spring season for middle school flag football. It's one of the best things I do. I love it. I'm very, I get so much enjoyment out of it. I feel proud of what I do. I think I'm good at what I do. I'm confident, not cocky. I'm confident, there's a difference. There's a difference. I can be cocky. Don't get me wrong. I can be cocky. I can do that if you want. But a lot of that's me just being funny. confidently I can say I'm good at what I do, and it's a fun thing for me to get the chance to you know, it's a fun thing for me to get the chance to coach and make those connections with people. Um, I started coaching a long time ago. I think I was a sophomore in high school. Maybe I was even a freshman. I was 16 years old. I think it would make me a sophomore. And I'm 20 years old now. Weird thing to say. Um, this summer I'll be 21. Glug, 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 if you know what I mean. Definitely not. Well, I mean, I mean, come on, I can do it now, but I'm not gonna, I don't know. Anyways, um, always getting off topic. I've learned a lot in that time. Coaching has taught me so much about life and myself. It's why I say it's one of the best things I do. It's therapeutic. It's something where I get to kind of control the way things go. I get to get people to buy into me, and I get to be a part of something. I get to be a part of a team. And yeah, I'm the oldest guy on the team. By a good few years now because I'm coaching middle schoolers. When I first started, it was by like 2 or 3 years. I had 14-year-olds on my team as a 16-year-old. There's not that big of a difference there. Hey, I know 19-year-olds who dated 16-year-olds. So that's all I'm saying. But yeah, I'm not sure why I brought that up. That's a weird thing to bring up there. Have not dated any of my players. Let's make that clear. That would be wrong back then. I think I would have to say, and that's even more wrong now. So let's just clear that up. Leave no room for anything there. But yeah, it's been such a cool thing for me to do, and I've learned a lot. I started as an assistant coach, but throughout my first year as an assistant coach, I think I had 2 years as an assistant coach, or 2 seasons. It was like all in 1 year. My second season as an assistant coach, I started to take over coaching practices, and that was a big thing because season one, I'm pretty quiet. I don't know what to say. I don't want to embarrass myself. I don't, I'm not sure what to say and how to help head coach here, who's the guy who coached me when I was in middle school. That's a cool thing. I played for him, got to high school. Where we are, they don't have flag football in high school. And so I started coaching because I wanted to stay around football. Anyways, he started to be able to show up less, kind of life got in the way. And so I would start to kind of run practices and sometimes without notice. I just wouldn't hear from him because life got in the way. Nothing against him. And so that was a huge thing for me. I learned to kind of speak up for myself and kind of lead things, be able to get on a kid's ass, if I can be honest and just be frank, and say, like, listen up, dude. Like, you're not doing this and you need to do this. You need to be better for us or something like that. Being able to not yell at a kid, but, yell at a kid, because I'm not a yeller. I don't, I yell in extreme situations and it's flag football. It'll never be that extreme. But, being able to raise a voice at a kid and let him know he's, annoying you and that, if he doesn't stop, he's gonna run, or something like that. So I learned a lot about myself. For me, like one of the defining moments of my life, and even more so as a coach, was I was coaching as a young kid. I was an assistant coach, but it was game day and coach could not make the game, and so I ended up having to coach the game, and I was very my brother was on the team, and it was a weird time. And we were playing another coach who was coaching a flag team, who happened to be the head coach of the high school tackle football team, a guy who's sent guys to Division I football who have done well. A guy who's been coaching for a long time, and yeah, we ended up losing the game, but I felt like I made it close. I felt like I was able to call plays that matched up well with his. I was able to compete against him and legitimately coach my boys to a competitive game. And there was one play in specific where I was just like, we just got to give it to Jake, because Jake, my brother, has always been extremely good at flag football. He's good. He's always better than the kids who are older than him. So many times in my life, I've watched Jake run all the way down the field, making people miss all the way along, because that's just who he always was, and then is, still to this day is a very good athlete. Just he's just good at good at pretty much any sport he does. And I was like, we just got to give it to Jake. And it was almost like tackle football. They like were holding him. He was just kind of like running off of people, like spinning around. They were like holding his turn. He just kept running and got us the first down on our long run. He was like, he had tears in his eyes by the end. You could just tell he was really passionate about what he was doing right then and there. And, I'm sure I had tears in my eyes as well, possibly. But I just was so proud of him and so proud of us at that moment in time. And, after the game, coach came up to me. Obviously, you shake hands with the coach. And it was just cool to look him in the eyes and him to see me and recognize me. And you could tell he was impressed. And that was such a cool thing. And I was so proud of my guys. I was so proud of Jake. Um, always was, always will be proud of him. Um, and, years down the line, I dropped Jake off at his first tackle football practice. And he did end up leaving the team before the sophomore season began. That's not really my information to share, but it's for other different reasons. I don't really know why I brought it up, but I want to tell a full story. Hopping back though, going to drop him off, and same coach there of the tackle football team comes up to the car. You can tell he recognizes both of us, and just kind of the look he gave me was like, hey, what's like, this kid, you know what I mean? And that was a cool thing for me to experience. But yeah, I think later down the line, I ended up head coaching a team, and the season after that actually, and I've been kind of head coaching off and on ever since, and it's been a great thing. I wouldn't change it for the world. And I think pretty much every year I've either had a winning record or a tied 500 record overall. So yeah, I feel happy about what I've done. I've brought my team to the championship twice now, lost both times, but what can you do? But yeah, it's for me it's weird. I like coaching more than I like playing now. That's how much I enjoy it. Oh, there goes the camera, of course. And now the lighting changes always whenever we do this. See, I never liked that, dude. Give it a second here. Let it focus here. Let it focus there. I feel like I almost made it worse when I did that. Hello? I don't understand why the lighting always changes when I do that. So it's strange. Let me try something real quick. Let's try something, folks. Together here. We're still going. Okay, now I turn back on. And it's on my hand. Okay. Yep, slowly let the color come in. Haha. Okay. Hello? Goodbye? I don't know. I can tell the lighting is much different now, but there's, it is what it is at this point, right? But yeah, it's weird to go from enjoying playing so much to enjoying coaching even more. I think what I like about it is it's a battle of smarts. You're out there and you're like, I can sit there on the field. I'm like, okay, Super Bowl. That's single back. We got receiver here, center, and running back. Those are all of our receivers. Let's go Super Bowl 2. We'll send a guy over the top of the 2 on a 7. 6, a shallow guy, and then we'll send a 9 or something like that. Super Bowl 2, 7, 6, 9. 6, 9. I guess, yeah, it is 6, 9. So 6, 9. Whoa. But yeah, that's about all I have for coaching. It's a thing that I really enjoy, and I wanted to share with you. Just coached a group of guys last season, and they were great. We had a good season, lost in the championship, and what can you do? What can you do? So yeah. Anyways, I guess maybe one more thing I wanted to bring up is the coolest player I ever got to coach was actually a girl. She joined our team. We actually had 2 girls on the team that year, and I was like, oh boy. I'm like, I don't know if I'm suited for this. I was like, nothing against a girl playing football at all. Absolutely not. But I'm like, I don't I don't know if my coaching styles, I'm not sure if I'm like, not that I'm not matured enough yet, but I don't know if that's just something I have in my experience yet. And lo and behold, it ended up being one of the coolest players I ever got to coach. The other girl got injured and was out for the season. Not in a game, might I say, skiing or something. But this one girl, like, I ended up having her for 2 seasons as a player, and man, just ended up developing such a great relationship with her and her family. And I texted them a while ago, just kind of saying like, "Hey, I'm about to start coaching again, and just want to say like, it's not the same. Nothing's the same with or because I did start coaching at that point. I was like, it's not the same anymore. It's tough without her." And I told them, she's um, you know, kind of like a sister to me in some ways. It feels like a little sister in some ways. So um, just a family, a person I really care about. And yeah, it's just weird. I think I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. I'm not sure if I'm good enough. And then being able to kind of forge that relationship there, and every time she did something good, even if it was the little things, I just got so excited and proud of her. I'm very loud on the sidelines. I really yell for my players a lot, and I definitely yelled loudest, and probably still have yelled loudest for her, just because she's so fun to watch. Closest thing I had to that of the season was a great experience. We had a kid who just he kind of struggled all season. He had a couple opportunities to get catches, and he wasn't able to get really any catches on the season. But it comes down to one of our very last games. We're in the playoffs, and I think he scored a touchdown or an extra point. I don't remember what it was, but he caught it. And I was so excited. I started hopping around. I was so loud. It's those moments are the reason I coach. It's not to win. It's not to, see the guys very good, do so many cool things. It's to see the person, the underdog, show up and do a good job. That's what I coach for. But yeah, let's get into this, dude. Before we get started, last season of coaching coming up. So, before I move, so that should be interesting. But let's do this. I gotta answer this as honest as I can. Honest as I can. And that's a big thing. Also, I'll read the questions. So you know how it works here. I'm not going to show it on screen because it's just, frankly, it's not a very needy thing you need to see. Basically, we got this. So it's the first question is, you regularly make new friends. There's agree on the left and disagree on the right. Obviously, for you, it looks different on the screen here, but just imagine for you, got agree on the left, disagree on the right. Okay. There's 3 agree dots. There's, in the middle, it goes agree, like kind of agree. It's like, oh, a little bit more agree, like really agree. And then same on the other side, it's kind of disagree, decently disagree, really disagree. And then in the middle is like neutral, I don't know. So I'll let you know what I select every time, obviously. You regularly make new friends. I'd say like it's like middle disagree. I got little disagree, middle disagree, big disagree. Like the middle, I think I like regularly can have that ability to make friends and like make acquaintances or make like friends, quote unquote, with people, but like actual friends, no. I would say I disagree. I definitely don't do that. Been a long time since I've regularly made friends. If I ever have, I don't know. You spend a lot of your free time exploring various random topics that pique your interest. I'm going to say like slightly disagree. Here's the thing. I'm like a Google guy. I'm like a little nerd. I look into little things, but it's about things I already know about. It's not various topics, exploring things. So I wouldn't say that's who I am. But I'll like say it's like something about the NBA, the National Basketball Association. I might look at a player and then look about all the things he's connected to. I'm a big Wikipedia guy. I look things up on Wikipedia like a dad. But yeah, I wouldn't say I really am adventure seeking in that way, I guess. With random topics. Seeing other people cry can easily make you feel like you want to cry too. That is a good question. I would say no. It's like seeing my family cry. That's when I get closest to crying, or other things like that, I guess. But I'd say mostly not. I'd say a little bit disagree as well, because of the situations with the family. You often make a backpack or back. I thought I said a backpack plan. That wouldn't make sense. You often make a backup plan for a backup plan. Uh, that's a great question as well. Do I make a backup plan for a backup plan? And I feel like the question is like, do you kind of, are you a backup plan kind of guy? Do you always have A and B? Mm, I'm gonna go neutral. I don't really have a good answer there. I really don't. Because I could say kind of both. Yeah, I kind of agree with and I kind of disagree. It just depends. You usually stay calm even under a lot of pressure. A lot of pressure. Hmm. I would say like it's very dependent on the situation again. I have to go neutral. I really do because I would say I slightly agree because you know, like I can feel it, right? I can feel the pressure, but yeah, I can stay like level-headed and I'm not gonna like I don't get jumble brain. I stay pretty level-headed. At social events, you rarely try to introduce yourself to new people and mostly talk to the ones you already know. I'm gonna say middle agree. I would say I do mostly agree. Sometimes I push myself out of that comfort zone a little bit. Absolutely. Oh boy, 10% done. After all that, this is gonna be a long time. Then we gotta go over all the results. See what I am. You prefer to completely finish one project before starting another. Yeah, I would say so. I can definitely get caught up in that way. Middle agree. You are very sentimental. I would say I largely agree on that one. I'm a pretty sentimental person, like attached to things, the Star Wars thing's a good reason there. I have keepsake boxes, things mean a lot to me. You like to use organizing tools like schedules and lists. Ooh. I like to. I do. I do. But do I do it? No, not so much. We'll go a little agree. Because the question is, you like to? Yeah, I like to. A little bit. Even a small mistake can cause you to doubt your overall abilities and knowledge. Even a small mistake. No, I would say I middle disagree, not for the most part. You feel comfortable just walking up to someone you find interesting and striking up a conversation. I would say middle disagree. I can do it. I can, but I usually feel pretty uncomfortable. You are not too interested in discussing various interpretations and analysis of creative works. I disagree a little bit. Getting too artsy fartsy about things is kind of weird to me, but yeah. By the way, I'm sorry, I'm looking at my hair right now, dude. It's looking good, man. It's the mullet is a thing of beauty. Um, I can definitely go without the mullet. I don't need it, but it's fun. I'm really liking at the front of my hair though. Look at those. Look at that, man. Look at that. Sorry. Sorry. Oh, by the way, forgot to pose for a thumbnail. Let's pose for a thumbnail here. What's this video even about? Taking a personality quiz. Maybe it's like a little bit of like a okay. Okay, those are good poses there. You are more inclined to follow your head than your heart. Ooh, logic versus like emotional. Hmm. I am a very logical person. I really am. However, I think I would middle disagree. I think following your heart is really like you can mix them, but I follow my heart much more than my head. And not that I'm super emotional in my decisions, but yeah, that's my gut feeling there, I guess. You usually prefer just doing what you feel like at any given moment instead of planning a particular daily routine. Usually prefer. I'm gonna go neutral. Can't really answer that one. Like, yeah, like, yes, like that's what I usually do, but I think I do prefer a routine because routines can get boring, so I'm indifferent. You rarely worry about whether you make a good impression on people you meet. Strongly disagree. I always like making a very good impression on people I meet. That's like the first big. No, I think we had a big agree earlier, but yeah, I do worry about that. I don't know if worry is the word, but I'm very concerned of it. It's something that I take a lot of care into making sure I make a very good impression by not being a kiss ass, but also showing them your real side and showing you that, hey, my real side's pretty cool. Having a hard time breathing. I don't know why. And just I always do whenever I talk. Um, you enjoy participating in group activities. I would say, group activities sounds different than coach. I'd say a little disagree. You like books and movies that make you come up with your own interpretation of the ending. Hmm. 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 That's a great question. I think I'm gonna go slightly disagree. Like, I kind of, I'm gonna go neutral. Yeah, it's weird. I think sometimes, cause that's the thing where I'm like, oh, artsy fartsy, stop it. But also, it's like, oh, that's cool. I like a bit of a thinker there. Like, what does this mean? And I think maybe American Beauty that I've talked about on the show is a great example of that. Your happiness comes from, your happiness comes more from helping others accomplish things than your own accomplishments. Slightly disagree. It's like, I might be indifferent. No, not it's because it's like football. It's like the one thing, but I feel like I also view it as my accomplishment too, to some degree. So yeah, slightly disagree. You are interested in so many things that you find it difficult to choose what to try next. No, medium disagree. You are prone to worrying that things will take a turn for the worst. Um, Prone to it. Yeah, probably slightly agree. Only because I look at it in the sense of like I look at my future and I never really like believe that, but I think about that fact about it. So it has to do with my future, I guess. Um, but in other parts of my life, yeah, a little bit, sure. Maybe that shows some of the insecurity I have, possibly. You avoid leadership roles in group settings. I'd say a medium disagree. I think I'm not trying to chase it, but I'm definitely not avoiding it, and I'll chase it when I think it's makes sense. You are definitely not an artistic type of person. Little disagree. Film is one thing, but it can be hard for me to be creative sometimes. But I still think of myself as a creative person. You think the world would be a better place if people relied more on rationality and less on their feelings. Uh, Indifferent. Can't really say. You prefer to do your chores before allowing yourself to relax. Yeah, yeah. Medium agree. You enjoy watching people argue? I don't think I do. Little disagree. You tend to avoid drawing attention to yourself. Um, that's a good question. I wouldn't say I do. I'd say I slightly disagree. Your mood can change very quickly. I don't think so. Um, Medium disagree. You lose patience with people who are not as efficient as you. Uh, Maybe slightly agree or indifferent. Yeah, I'd say slightly agree. You often end up doing things at the last possible moment. Slightly disagree. And one of those things. I can definitely do it. I'm a teenager, so well, I'm not actually. I'm 20 years old. So look at that. Look at me out here still thinking I'm a teenager. You know what I mean, though. You have always been fascinated by the question of what, if anything, happens after death. Well, as a Christian, yeah, I think it's fascinating. I agree. Like what the yeah, medium agree. You prefer to be around others rather than on your own. No, not. I mean, I'd rather be around my girlfriend than be alone, but I like my alone time still. Medium disagree. You become bored or lose interest when the discussion gets highly theoretical. Uh, Medium disagree. I think that's fun. You find it easy to empathize with a person whose experiences are very different from yours. Very much so agree. I think of myself as a pretty empathetic person. I can feel those feelings a lot of time, even if it's not something I've experienced. Not always a good thing. It can be a blessing in disguise, but it can also be a little difficult. This hair, dude, come on, the flow today. You usually postpone finalizing decisions for as long as possible. Ooh, you usually postpone finalizing decisions. I wouldn't say so. I'd say I slightly disagree. You rarely second guess. What was the you usually postpone finalizing? I mean, you could look at work as that. Yeah, I'll go medium, indifferent. It's because I can go both ways. You know what sounds so good right now? I just like I smelled like root beer at the pizza shop like down the road. Oh, that sounds so good. Root beer and a piece of pizza right now. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry. I just started thinking about it, dude. And I was like, that sounds so friggin' good. You rarely second guess the choices that you have made. I rarely second guess the choices. Yeah. Indifferent. After a long and exhausting week, a lively social event is just what you need. No. Strongly disagree, probably. It would be the thing I don't want. I want to just be me and my girlfriend just watching a show, frankly, if I can be honest, or maybe doing something together, but not lively. No. Unless it's a football game. You enjoy going to art museums. By the way, I don't consider it a football game. I disassociate the people. You enjoy going to art museums. I never have, but if I had, would I enjoy it? Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, little agree. You often have a hard time understanding other people's feelings. I think I strongly disagree. I feel like I can understand people's feelings decently easily. I don't think it's too difficult of a thing. You like to have a to-do list for each day. I do. Yeah, you like to. Yeah, at medium agree. I'd say mostly so. You rarely feel insecure. Yes, I agree. I mean, you know, that would have changed a while back, but now I'd say I don't really feel insecure so much. So you avoid making phone calls. Largely agree. Yeah, I hate phone calls so much. You often spend a lot of time trying to understand views that are very different from your own. A lot of time? No. Slightly disagree. I wouldn't say I'm closed minded, but probably am. To some degree. Slightly disagree. In your own social circle, you are often the one who contacts your friends and initiates activities. Ooh, yeah, that used to be the case a lot. Nowadays, I would say I medium disagree. That's interesting. I haven't really thought about that, but yeah, that's definitely the case now. I'm definitely less so the one to do things or ask about things. If your plans are interrupted, your top priority is to get back on track as soon as possible. Not necessarily. I'd say I slightly disagree. You are still bothered by mistakes that you made a long time ago. Slightly agree. Yeah, sometimes, maybe. Um, just little things. You rarely contemplate the reasons for human existence or the meaning of life. Slightly agree. Yeah, a little bit. I feel like I know those things, you know? I don't know. Your emotions control you more than you control them. Mm. Your emotions control you. Hmm. I don't think so. Slightly disagree. You take great care not to make people look bad, even when it is completely their fault. Yeah, behind scenes, I might be thinking something else, or I might be telling my dad or my girlfriend, like, bro, what the frick, man, this person ain't got it together. But yeah, I don't like pointing things back at people. But I think, frankly, I could do a better job of that if someone wrongs me. You know, my mom sent me something like, hey, if someone wrongs you, like, or they say something that belittles you, like, ask them to repeat it, because then that throws the spotlight on them, and then it's like the dopamine hit for them isn't as good as anymore. Then they have to like repeat it and be like, oh, it's not as funny anymore, you know? So, I could do a better job at it, but, um, yeah, I'd say I largely agree with that one. Well, actually, can I go back? I was gonna say medium agree, but it doesn't really matter. I don't think I can go back, and I guess that's okay, frankly. Your personal work style is closer to because what I was gonna say is like with a player, I'll call out a player sometimes and slightly use them as an example because it can be a good thing to do, and sometimes um, little brats need that. Your personal work style is closer to spontaneous bursts of energy than organized and consistent efforts. I would say I largely agree. It just comes at the weirdest times. When someone thinks highly of you, you wonder how long it will take them to feel disappointed in you. Mm. When something's, you wonder how long it will take. I don't think I ever think that. It's largely disagree. You would love a job that requires you to work alone most of the time. I probably would have used to say like, oh yeah. Now I would say, um, I slightly disagree. Um, Working with people can be very fun, and I haven't gotten a whole lot of chances to do that in like a professional job setting. But outside of that, it's fun, and I think I'm going to enjoy it a lot more with this new job. You believe that pondering abstract philosophical questions is a waste of time. I slightly disagree. It's whatever. Who cares? It can be fun. It's, yeah, I don't know. You feel more drawn to places with busy, bustling atmospheres than quiet, intimate places. I'd say I slightly agree. Yeah, it can be fun. You're like, oh, what's going on there? You know at first glance how someone is feeling. Um, yeah, largely agree for sure. Big time agree. You often feel overwhelmed. Yeah, slightly agree at this time in life, yes. You completely you complete things methodically without skipping over any steps. Indifferent, just very dependent. You are very intrigued by things labeled as controversial. Very intrigued, I would say slightly disagree. Yeah. You would pass along a good opportunity if you thought someone else needed it more. Oh. I don't know really where you're going to run into that situation. You would pass on a good opportunity. I don't think so. I think I'd slightly disagree with that. It's a dog eat dog world out there. And yeah. You struggle with deadlines. No. I strongly disagree. I feel like I'm usually ahead of deadlines significantly. Not that I deal with deadlines very often. You feel confident that things will work out for you. I'm gonna go back to the other one, go middle disagree. I think I could have had a little ego in that answer there. There's sure little things. Okay. Oh, your gender. Are we almost done? Oh, yes, this is the last thing. Last question here, and then we have my gender. You feel confident that things will work out for you. I do strongly agree. Middle agree. Yes, middle agree. There's this part of me that's like, how in the world am I going to do this? But I mostly agree. I have that belief in myself. But we'll go middle agree, I'd say. You feel confident that, yeah, middle. All right. Let's see these results. Different than it was freshman year, different than it was the second time. ISFJA, Defender. Let me see if I can share my screen with you here. Great. We'll share this. No need to show my face. Defender. ISFJA. Defenders are very dedicated and warm protectors, always ready to defend their loved ones. Absolutely, yes. 69% introverted. Yeah, that sounds right. I mean, obviously I'm an introvert, but probably less so than it used to be. Introvert individuals tend to prefer fewer yet deep and meaningful social interactions and often feel drawn to calmer environments. 55% observant. A little bit of both here. And those are probably those questions where I'm like in the middle. Observant individuals are pragmatic and down to earth. They tend to have a strong focus on what is happening or very likely to happen. Yeah, definitely. Kind of definitely a bit of both. 67% feeling versus thinking. Feeling individuals value emotional expression and sensitivity. They place a lot of importance on empathy, social harmony, and cooperation. Definitely. 58% judging. Woo! I don't think it used to be that way. I think it used to be the other way. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Well, I don't know, actually. INFP. I guess it used to be more P, yeah, than J. Okay. Okay, bro. Because I used to be an INFP. This would make this is the J part, I would assume. Judging individuals are decisive, thorough, and highly organized. See, this is this thing where I don't know, are decisive, thorough, yeah, I think I could still be, I don't know. I might say I'm prospecting in this way, but they value clarity, predictability, and closure, definitely, preferring structure and planning to spontaneity. That's true. I would say that's true. I do prefer structure and planning, but I'm more spontaneous. I don't know. It's definitely in the middle, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, it's definitely in the middle. I think it could go either way. Identity, assertive. Assertive individuals are self-assured, even-tempered, and resistant to stress. They refuse to worry too much and tend to be self-confident when striving to achieve goals. Yeah? Yeah, I would say that's very true. No, I'm sorry. Okay. We'll go through a few of these. Let's go through the introduction, and then I think strengths and weaknesses would be interesting. It'll be interesting to see the romantic, and yeah, maybe we'll go through them all. We'll see. Kind of skim over most of them, but yeah, look at this over here. Definitely. And then we're like in the middle. Definitely more feeling in the middle. In the middle. Yeah. ISFJA. So introverted, observant, I guess is the S. F. So I used to be IN, intuitive, F, and then perspective. So yeah, I mean, I think you could say I'm an ISFJ and also probably an INFP. I'm probably quite similar to both, which makes sense. I would say like, yeah, maybe I've grown a bit more observant now and being more sure of myself probably makes me a bit more judgmental, maybe judging. I don't know. In their unassuming, understated way, defenders help make the world go round. Hardworking and devoted people with this personality type feel a deep sense of responsibility of those around them. Defenders can be counted on to meet deadlines, remember birthdays and special occasions, yeah, uphold traditions, and shower their loved ones with gestures of care and support, but they rarely demand recognition for all that they do, preferring instead to operate behind the scenes. Yeah, I still appreciate when I get recognized, but yeah, I guess that's fair. This is a capable, can-do personality type with a wealth of versatile gifts. Though sensitive and caring, defenders also have excellent analytical abilities and an eye for detail. And despite their reserve, they tend to have well-developed people skills and robust social relationships. I'd say I have well-developed people skills for sure. Robust social relationships. I guess my girlfriend probably, and my family, and outside of that, and maybe not so much. Defenders are truly more than the sum of their parts, and their varied strengths shine in even the most ordinary aspects of their daily lives. Defenders are true altruists, meaning kindness with kindness in excess and engaging with the work and people they believe in with enthusiasm and generosity. Gift of loyalty. Among defenders' most distinctive traits is loyalty. Rare is the defender who allows a friendship or a relationship to fade away from lack of effort. Instead, they invest a great deal of energy into maintaining strong connections with their loved ones, and not just by sending "How are you doing?" texts. People with this personality type are known for dropping everything and lending a hand whenever a friend or family member is going through a hard time. With friends, I don't have strong connections with friends right now, so I can't say that always applies to friends so much so. But with family and, like my girlfriend, that kind of thing, yeah. Defenders tend to feel most energized and effective when they're showing up for someone who needs their help. Yep, I like doing that. For sure. Camera's off, but it doesn't really matter. The highest of standards. For defenders, good enough is rarely good enough. Agreed. showing up for others and themselves. Although they're introverted, defenders have a deeply social nature. Thanks to their ability to remember the details of other people's lives, defenders have a special talent for making their friends and acquaintances feel seen, known, and cherished. Few personality types can match defenders' ability to choose just the right gift for any occasion, whether large or small. Dedicated and thoughtful, defenders find great joy in helping those around them build stable, secure, and happy lives. It may not be easy for people with this personality type to show up for themselves in the way that they show up for other people, but when they do, they often find themselves with even more energy and motivation to do good in the world. Queen Elizabeth, yeah, I'm just like Vin Diesel. That is true. Beyonce, Queen Elizabeth, Vin Diesel, yeah, these guys, yeah, they definitely remind me of me. Definitely. Sarcasm, by the way. I don't know any of these people hardly. I mean, I know their names. Selena Gomez. Right. I'd appreciate more. Captain America. Yeah, that sounds just like me, dude. Okay. Pam. Okay. I don't really relate to any of these characters, but that's okay. Vito Corleone. Never mind. I am definitely Vito Corleone. Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I do really think right now I might relate a bit more to an INFP, just a little bit with certain things, but it's definitely a mix. I think it can be a mix, and it definitely is. And I think, where I could turn into an INFP is here, where you can see it's very down the middle. So, I think there's probably a few things in an INFP where I'm like, yeah, not so much. But I'd say this is largely accurate. We'll just kind of gloss over the strengths and then maybe go a bit more in depth into the weaknesses. Supportive, reliable, observant. I'd say observant definitely is one of the biggest things of a defender, for sure. Enthusiastic, hardworking. Yeah, I'm hardworking. It's just, I think sometimes it can be, I'm not super proactive about the hard work. Good practical skills. I'd agree. Weaknesses, overly humble. That sounds like a good thing to me. Yeah. Okay. I'm a little bit of a narcissist, so I think in like my accomplishments, I'm not boastful about them. It's like not the first thing I say. With people I'm comfortable with, I can kind of play up the narcissism. So in some instances, yeah, I'd like to throw a lot of stuff back onto other people, but I don't know if I agree with overly humble. And that feels like something that's a bit like hard to say. Yeah, I'm a humble person. That's a weird thing to say. Taking things personally. Although they might try to hide it, people with this personality type are deeply sensitive to others' opinions, and they can be thrown off balance if someone doesn't appreciate, approve of, or agree with them. I think that's very true, especially with family. Even with just like a light friend, it's like sometimes that matters to me a lot. So yeah, repressing their feelings. Ooh, yes, sir. I'm pretty good about it for a man, I would say. But sure, I'd say I definitely struggle with that. Private and reserved, defenders tend to internalize their feelings, particularly negative ones. This can create misunderstandings in their relationship. Eventually, all of their repressed feelings and resentments may boil over in a sudden and characteristic outburst of frustration. Yeah, for sure. Overcommitted. Defenders' dutifulness. Well, I need to take a sip of water. You can hear my voice there. Wow. Dude, jeez. As a result, defender personalities may suffer silently, trying to do everything themselves, even when it's simply impossible. Yeah, a little bit. I have trouble saying I'm overcommitted compared to, and it's not that you shouldn't compare, but compared to other people, I don't think I'm really overcommitted right now. But I can overcommit, sure. Reluctant to change. Defenders are among the personality types that struggle the most with change. Breaking with tradition isn't easy for defenders, who place great value on history and precedent. Even when change is necessary, they may wait until the situation reaches a breaking point. Yeah, I would say that's very true for me. Too altruistic. Defenders' giving, generous nature can leave them vulnerable to be taken advantage of by others. Yes, so true. It can be hard for people with this personality type to rock the boat and stand up to someone who isn't pulling their own weight. I'd say so. Romantic relationships. Let's go. Get an inside scoop on Melanie and I. Romantic relationships bring out a side of this personality type that may not be obvious at a first glance. Beneath their mild, unassuming exteriors, that's for sure. I'm definitely mild and unassuming. Defenders thrum with passionate commitment and loyalty toward the people they love. At times, defenders themselves may be surprised by the intensity of their feelings, especially their fierce desire to protect and care for their partner. Yes. Yes, this is so true so far. Defenders' emotions run deep, so deep, that people with this personality type may struggle to find the word to express just how much their partner means to them. Yes, very much. But defenders show their affection in a million little ways on a daily basis. You'd have to ask Melanie. Always eager to make their loved ones' lives better and more pleasant, defenders can transform even the most prosaic of tasks, from cooking to dinner to organizing a weekend trip, into a heartfelt gesture of love and care. Have to ask Melanie. I'm not going to go out there and say that's me. Um, Defenders in love. Although generally a proactive, can-do personality type, many defenders struggle to take the initiative when it comes to dating. Asking someone out can be incredibly wow, this is true. Uncomfortable for defenders who tend to worry about not only rejection but also violating unspoken social rules. The bad news is that defenders can end up feeling trapped, waiting to embark on a relationship but waiting for the other person or another person to make the first move. Yeah. Many defenders long to bring their gifts to a loving relationship, but they hesitate to take the risk of asking someone out. Yeah, hard to do. I did it though. I did it. When they do find themselves in a relationship, defenders are, in a word, committed. People with this personality type find great fulfillment in sharing their time, energy, and affection with another person. And as partners, they tend to be incredibly generous and supportive. They don't take the relationships lightly, and they don't give up easily. Sip of water. Even when challenges inevitably rise, defenders tend to have a realistic appreciation for the amount of effort that a healthy long-term relationship requires, and they are more than willing to put in the work necessary to build a lasting bond with a person they cherish. Hey, you're talking to the guy who's had one girlfriend ever right now and still in that relationship going on nearly 3 years now. Let's take a look. We are 2 years, 10 months, and 6 days into this relationship as of today. So, goes to show ya. Soundness of heart. Defenders give so much of themselves in their relationships that they can feel deeply hurt when they believe that someone isn't offering them enough love, commitment, and appreciation in return. I'm sure, yeah, but I get all that love, brother. Unfortunately, defenders may find it difficult to break off a relationship even when things just aren't working out. People with this personality type may hang on due to a misplaced loyalty, a general fear of change, or the hope that they can somehow figure out how to change any problems for the better. I can't really comment on that. I'm in a good place right now. So yeah, can't comment on that. It would be a mistake, however, to think of defenders as pushovers in their relationships. Although people with this personality type generally try to avoid conflict, true, they have, I said true by the way, I feel like that might not have picked up. They have clear and firm opinions and preferences on all kinds of subjects. And when they feel as if their partner isn't respecting their wishes, all of their repressed frustration and disappointment may eventually boil over in the form of negativity, resentment, or heels dug in stubbornness. Yeah, I can see that. Defenders devote themselves to their partner, but they may feel unfulfilled unless they remember to honor their own hopes and dreams. In their heart of hearts, however, what defenders want most is to ensure their partner's happiness. Yes! As long as they balance this desire with a healthy amount of attention to their own needs and aspirations, defenders can enjoy exactly the sort of enduring, impassioned relationships that they've always dreamed about. So I would say this is very, very true. I'd say this is quite accurate in a number of ways. Friendships, I don't really want to touch on friendships. I just don't have very many like deep friendships right now. And I don't know. It's just a topic I don't really want to cover. Parenthood? That could be interesting a little bit. Career paths is interesting too. And then I think we'll largely be done. I might want to take a quick look at an INFP just to kind of show you guys some of the things I might relate to a lot more with an INFP. Obviously, we're all people and all relate to a lot of different things, but there are definitely a large portion of things with an INFP that I relate to. Let's see here. They take the responsibilities of parents seriously. see it as their duty to provide their children with a secure and comfortable home life, a stable foundation to help their children grow. Yeah. But when it comes to parenthood, defenders aren't just motivated by a sense of duty, they are also motivated by love. That makes sense. It seems like this personality type, which I think makes sense, is very big on love. Love and emotions drive a lot of it. Given that this personality type values tradition and guidance, it's no surprise that many defenders embrace clearly defined roles for parents and children. Rather than seeing themselves as their children's peer or best friend, defender parents view their role, and often rightly so, as that of a loving authority figure. Yeah, definitely. And I think that's kind of how my parents are. Someone who imparts wisdom and values gently but firmly teaching their children the difference between right and wrong. Defenders dedicate themselves to ensuring that their children understand the importance of taking responsibility and doing the right thing. I should say, you might be thinking, Alec, you're not a parent. Like, you're probably thinking that. Maybe you are. Yeah, but I have very, clear, defined values of what I want to be as a parent. I can't wait to be a parent. This may not be difficult for defenders to manage in early years, but it can become more of a... Oh, let's look at this then. I just kind of went down. It can be challenging for defender parents when their children, in an effort to assert their independence, push back on this well-intended guidance and support. As part of their development, most children reach a point where they want to test boundaries, blah, 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 and that sometimes involves going against their parents' advice. It might not be difficult for parents to manage in their early years, but it can become more of a struggle once they're kind of become a teen. Defenders value stability, and they want to make sure that their children are setting themselves up for the right kind of future, one that includes financial... Yeah, I don't know that I'm like that so much, but it's so much different once you become a parent, I know. So check back in a few years, folks. Okay, let's just quickly go over the career paths and then skim over the rest real quick. Okay, career paths. Backbone of their workplace, reliable, hardworking, and always ready to lend a hand. Shining behind the scenes, few personality types match the defender's deep appreciation of what it means to play a supporting role. Dude, after working in service, bro, I am always doing my best to treat service people so nice, because it definitely sucks to some degree. Natural humility. Defender personalities tend to feel especially fulfilled by careers that allow them to facilitate others' growth. Sure. No matter what it says on their business card, many defenders approach their work with an eye towards helping others in practical ways. Definitely. Defenders are motivated, consistent workers, rarely losing sight of the ways in which their daily lives tasks can benefit others, never missing a beat. Some personality types lose steam in the face of a tedious, multifaceted tasks, but not defenders. Defenders' attentiveness to detail is among their greatest strengths. Meticulous and socially oriented, defenders have a talent for remembering things about other people. I'd say so. A talent that can help them connect with a customer, bolster a faltering business relationship, or simply brighten a colleague's day. Despite their many gifts, defender personalities are unlikely to demand recognition or ask for promotions, preferring to let their work speak for itself. Yeah, but I sure like my recognition. Given their respect for tradition and security, defenders generally have no problem with the idea of moving along in a structured hierarchy, trusting that their bosses will promote them if and when the time is right. But even the most patient defender can become frustrated if their contributions seem to continually be overlooked, as of any of us do. When they leap into management roles, they often find that their strengths are surprisingly well suited to building a cohesive... Yeah, bruh. I was surprised when I coached, but I was like, damn, I'm not so bad. Defenders can be loyal to a fault, and they may feel guilty at the idea of moving on from their employer. We know that's not true. Workplace habits, anything here? Defender subordinates. As employees, defenders exemplify the strength of humble dedication, relied on and respected for their patience and commitment. People with this personality type really only need one reward for their work: the satisfaction of knowing they've helped someone, and if that person expresses a bit of gratitude, so much the better. Yes. At times, defenders' radical humility can hold them back. They tend to be unwilling to play up their achievements, often for fear of creating unnecessary friction. Unfortunately, this can make it all too easy for their bosses to overlook them. Good to know. My mom's home. Conclusion. What you have read so far is just introduction. Blah blah blah. If you feel understood, blah blah. Okay, whatever. So yeah, I'd say I largely agree. ISFJA, INFPA. Let's find that. Where are the other people? Where personality types? So I clearly fit in here, right? The defender area. No, is that not true? Where is the INF? I thought I would fit in the Sentinels area, which would make sense. Oh boy. Here we go. Mediator. I'm just hoping that I'm just gonna keep talking with my dog barking. I'm hoping that with this new Adobe thing, it makes things better. Okay. INFP. I think it used to be an INFPT, but I'm definitely an INFPA now. Let's go over a decent introduction here, and maybe we'll just kind of stick on the introduction, but I'm going to say I'm probably going to relate more to an INFP. I can just kind of already tell. Although they may seem quiet or unassuming, mediators have vibrant, passionate inner lives. Creative and imaginative, they happily lose themselves in daydreams. Yes. Inventing all sorts of stories and conversations in their mind. Absolutely, absolutely. These personalities are known for their sensitivity. Mediators can have profound emotional responses to music, art, nature, and the people around them. Yes. Idealistic and empathetic, mediators long for deep, soulful relationships, and they feel called to help others. Yep. But because their personality type makes up such a small portion of the population, mediators may sometimes feel lonely, yes, or invisible, yes, adrift in a world. I don't feel lonely. I have a girlfriend, but yeah, still, adrift in a world that doesn't seem to appreciate the traits that make them unique. Yes. Yeah. Already. A bunch. I just, it's a personality trait I just relate with a lot. Mediators share a sincere curiosity about the depths of human nature. Introspective to the core, they're exquisitely attuned to their own thoughts and feelings, but they yearn to understand the people around them. Yes. Mediators are compassionate and non-judgmental. Bit more judgmental now. I think that's the big thing that might have switched things. But I do, there's people who I don't agree with, and I just can't help but look at them and see how beautiful they are as people is the thing. So I don't know how to say. Always willing to hear another person's story. Yep. When someone opens up to them or turns to them for comfort, which happens a lot, we talked about in the first episode, they feel honored to listen and be of help. Yeah. For mediators, an ideal relationship of any kind is one which both people feel comfortable sharing not just their wildest hopes and dreams, but also their secret fears and yes, dude. Can you not tell how excited I am? Just how much more this feels like me. Empathy is among this personality type's greatest gifts, but at times it can be a liability. The troubles of the world weigh heavily on mediators' shoulders, and these personalities can be vulnerable to internalizing other people's negative moods or mindsets. Yeah, for sure. Unless they learn to set boundaries, mediators may feel overwhelmed by just how many wrongs there are that need to be set right. I guess, yeah. Maybe a little less here. Speaking the truth. Few things make mediators more uneasy than pretending to be someone they aren't. With their sensitivity and their commitment to authenticity, huge for me. I've talked about this before we even did this today. I don't like being a kiss ass. I like being just authentic. People with this personality type tend to crave opportunities for creative self-expression. Yeah. It comes as no surprise then that many famous mediators are poets, writers, actors, and artists. Wow. Does that seem right to you guys a little bit? Yeah, I'd say so. They can't help but muse about the meaning of and purpose of life, dreaming up all sorts of stories, ideas, and possibilities along the way. Mediators have a talent for self-expression. They may reveal their innermost thoughts and secrets through metaphors and fictional characters. Yes! Whoa! Come on, let's just be honest here. Through these imaginative landscapes, need another sip. Mediators can explore their own inner nature as well as their place in the world. While this is a beautiful trait, these personalities sometimes show a tendency to daydream and fantasize rather than take action. Whoa. Way to call me out. To avoid feeling frustrated, unfulfilled, or incapable, mediators need to make sure that they are taking steps to turn their dreams and ideas into reality. Thanks, guys, for calling me out. In search of a calling. People with this personality type tend to feel directionless or stuck until they connect with a sense of purpose for their lives. For many mediators, this purpose has something to do with uplifting others and their ability to feel other people's suffering as if it were their own. While mediators want to help everyone, they need to focus on their energy and efforts, otherwise they can end up exhausted. Wow. Fortunately, like flowers in the spring, mediators' creativity and idealism can bloom even after the darkest of seasons. Blah, 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 blah. People. William Shakespeare. Bjork. Alicia Keys. Nope. Tom Hiddleston. Loki. I don't know what he's like in real life, but sure. Yeah. I don't, it's hard for me to, relate to these characters or people. Yeah, I think we'll leave it there mostly. Definitely a dreamer and idealist. I think it's definitely a mix. And I think it's kind of good that in some ways maybe I am moving a bit more towards a defender in the sense of like wanting to take more action and daydreaming a little less. So we'll see. But I'd say I'm an INFP. I don't think I'm an ISFJ. But yeah, it can be a bit of both, but I'd say I much more so still relate to an INFP, and I don't think that's an equal thing. I can tell you now. Look, man, I just told you right now that this thing straight up called me out in a few areas. I'm definitely would say I'm an INFP. I really would. Just reading it, I feel a lot more related to it. With the ISFJ, I was like, yeah, okay. But yeah, I this is going on now pretty long, so calling it quits on the episode today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Maybe we dive into the INFP just a little bit more next episode, but I appreciate you guys watching. Kind of going through the personality test for me. Maybe you learned a bit more about me. I know it's kind of a lot of reading of things there, but I had a lot of fun today, and we'll have some more fun next week. Next time I talk at you, probably be in the middle of my first like regular work week. So expect stress, expect doom and gloom, but maybe not. I'm expecting, the tough stuff now, which makes it maybe even easier to deal with. I know it's going to be difficult, and sometimes that helps me. So, goodbye, guys. I'm going to go see my mom. Haven't seen her in multiple days. Excited to do that. Have a good one. Oop, hit my arm on something. See y'all in the next one. Thanks for watching yet another podcast. Yet another something. Goodbye.